Hi, this video we will continue with hypothesis testing. In my previous videos, I talked about hypothesis testing for mean, probability of type 1 and type 2 error. So now in these lessons, we focus on a partial question which combines both hypothesis testing and the calculations of type 2 error probability. Right, let's see the questions, which is from October, November 15, question 6. Parcels arriving at a certain office have weight W kg, where the random variable W has mean mu and standard deviations 0.2. The value of mu used to be 2.60, but there is a suspicion that this may no longer be true. Okay, in order to test at the 5% significant level whether the value of mu has increased, a random sample of 75 parcels is chosen. You may assume that the standard deviations of W is unchanged. Okay, part 1, the mean weight of the 75 parcels is found to be 2.64 kg. Carry out the test. Now, since we are looking at hypothesis testing, first we are going to define the variables, and it is a normal distribution, right? It's a sample mean that follows normal distributions. So the mean is supposed to be 2.6, where the standard deviation is 0.2, and hence has to be squared because we are looking at variance. And since we are talking about sample mean, the variance must be divided by sample size 75. Okay, then second, we have to determine the H0, H1. So we are going to test whether the mean remains as 2.60 or, according to the questions, that the suspicions, the value of mu has increased. So which means H1 to be greater than 2.60. And then given significant level to be 5%. So what we need to do now is to determine the rejection region. So we are going to reject H0 if. So the z-score. So when do we reject H0? Refer to the bell-shaped curve sketch. And since the H1 is greater than, we are looking at the right tail, the small region here to be 0.05, right? The probability 0.05. So the z-score value, what is that value? Now, in order to read from the table, we are going to take 1 minus 0.05. So which means when the probability is 0.95, so let me scroll down to refer to the table. And you can refer to the smaller table below here. When the probability is 0.95, the z-score 1.645. Okay, now we use this z-score value. Come back to the questions, which means 1.645. That is where we will reject the H0 when the z-score is greater than 1.645. So now we are going to calculate the value of test statistic. So which is the z-score. And in this case, refer to part 1, the mean weight of 75 parcel is found to be 2.64. So this is the sample mean because it's obtained from the sample size 75. So 2.64 minus the mean divided by the standard deviations. Okay, so calculate out this value. and it's going to be 1.732. So as we can see that this value is greater than 1.645, and then this is where we are going to make the decisions by rejecting H now and come to the conclusion that there is sufficient evidence that at 5% significant level that the value of milk has increased. All right, so that is the hypothesis test for these particular questions, and our conclusion is rejecting H now. So why? Because the test statistic calculated is greater than the rejection region in terms of the z-score. Okay, so now we continue with part 2. Now, part 2, later another test of the same hypothesis at the 5% significant level with another random sample of 75 pulses is carried out. Okay, now given that the value of mu is now 2.68, calculate the probability of a type 2 error. Okay, what does it mean? If you refer to my previous videos, when I discussed the calculations of type 1 and type 2 error probability, I emphasize that there is very important information must be given by questions, right? That means the critical or rejection region in terms of X bar has to be given. And refer back to these questions, it is not. So what do? We have to find out this rejection region in terms of X bar ourselves by using the 5% significant level given. Okay, so as we know, we are going to reject the H now if the z-score greater than 1.645. So when the mean remains at 2.6 and the standard deviation unchanged, what value of the X bar that we are going to reject the H now, right? So we're taking this greater than 1.645. So by carry out calculation of this, we will be able to get the X bar value 2.638. Okay, so that is the critical region in terms of X bar. So which means we will reject the H now if the X bar greater than 2.638, right? So this region is going to help us calculate the type 2 error probability. Now again, what does it mean by type 2 error? It is H now is not rejected when H now is false. All right, so when do you not reject the H now? Here, right, we reject if the X bar greater than 2.638. We do not reject if the X bar less than equal to 2.638. So that is what we want to find out. But then as given by the questions, the H now is no longer true, right? H now is false. So the true mean supposed to be 2.68. So which means we are going to use the normal distribution with the mean to be 2.68 instead, but assuming that standard deviation remains the same, remain unchanged to carry out the calculations. By using this calculations, we will be getting the type 2 error probability. So minus and divide by the standard deviations. All right. So calculate out the z-score value. Is going to be negative 1.819. And refer to the bell-shaped curve sketch to find probability somewhere here. Less than, so it's a smaller region. And that means we are going to take 1 minus the value we obtained from the table. So refer to the normal distribution table 1.819. 1.81, so 0.9649, 9 here, 6. So it's going to be 0.9655. So it's a 5. 9655, and that is where we get to the answer 0.0345 as the probability of type 2 error for these particular questions. Okay, so we have answered the part 2. So again, it is very important for you to have the critical region in terms of X bar, either given to you or you can find out by yourself, and the true mean given by the questions for you to calculate out the type 2 error probability. All right. So that's all for this video, and please subscribe to the channel and like the video. That's it.
That's all for today's video. If you're interested in more genuine sharing by other geniuses, please subscribe to our channel and don't forget to turn on the notification bell, ding dong. Also, if you're struggling with 1 or 2 past year questions and the mark scheme just doesn't seem to help, Genie has got you covered. Feel free to let us know what question it is by filling in the Google form linked in the description below. GenieUs Hub will get genius teachers to fulfill your request for the solution. Genie will see you next time. Bye-bye.